Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coaching and Consulting Insight series on the Success Insight podcast. This series introduces you to coaches and consultants who work with leaders, teams, entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals to create their best life and achieve and perform at their full potential. Our guests today are the authors of the book Solution-Focused Team Coaching. We have Kirsten, Cristina, Carlo, who will soon be joining us, and Rafal. Welcome to you all for joining me on the Success Insight podcast and our series, Coaching and Consulting Insights. Welcome wherever you are, and I should probably say good afternoon or good morning because you're all over the place. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Excellent.
Likewise.
Excellent.
Hello.
Likewise.
So in the spirit of full disclosure, a couple of my guests are actually peers of mine in the coaching. Well, we're all coaches, but they are also peers that work with an organization that I also work with, Ezra, which is a coaching organization, global coaching organization. And so I had the pleasure of interacting with Rafal. He had shared on one of the threads that we have, and for the life of me, Rafal, I can't remember the exact tool that we use. It's still too early.
Slack, yeah.
Slack, our Slack channel. I should know this. And he had mentioned that he and his peers had just are about to author or to publish a book. And of course, as a podcaster, I was very excited. So again, I want to welcome you all, and let's learn a little bit more about the solution-focused team coaching book. Kirsten, I think this is you originally were the originator of this book, the first edition. So tell us a little bit about first yourself. Give us a little highlight of your background, your expertise, and then let's talk a little bit about the book, and then we'll kind of keep going around the horn here.
Sure. So I'm ICF MCC coach, and I also have MCC and EMCC team coaching accreditations, the ITCA and the ACTC. Plus, I'm a accredited supervisor, and I'm the owner and founder of SolutionsAcademy, which is a globally accredited coach training and team coach training school of accredited with EMCC and ICF for all levels and any kind of accreditation for a coach. We're your one-stop online shop for coach certification. We have everything you never even wanted, but needed to show companies anyway. So I've been coaching since 1996 and have a long experience also coaching teams. And that's where the team coaching book originated, because I was realizing a lot of people were and are still doing very strange things in team coachings, laden with lots of theory that teams sometimes welcome and most often don't. And that's why I started the book in 2013, having a very simple and easily implementable approach to team coaching, which is highly appreciated by teams because it's so down to earth. Basically, ask people, what do you want? Ask them, where are you now? And then help them experiment toward getting there. So that's solution focus in a nutshell. And now 2013 was pre-pandemic. So at that point, most team coachings were in a room with people. And while now most team coachings are online, that's what prompted the update. And the second thing that prompted the update is that now the accrediting agencies have started developing team coaching competencies, and we wanted to respond to that. And then, of course, now I was working with these lovely people, Raf and Cristina and Carlo, and I was thinking it would be such a shame if only my insight made it into the book, and I was able to rope them into that endeavor. So that's why we have the solution-focused team coaching. And I've been reading lots of team coaching books. I don't want to sing my own praises, but if you want the most pragmatic and theoretically sound book on the market, buy ours.
I love that. Well, you have to pitch your own book and seed the reason why this is so important. So I completely appreciate that. Uh, Cristina, why don't we let you jump in and tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved with Solutions Academy? And when Kirsten said, "Hey, I have this opportunity for you," why did you jump in and say, "Yeah, I'll be a part of this lovely new creation, the solution focused team coaching book"?
Definitely a lovely new creation. I like that thing because I think the book brings the spirit of the first edition, and at the same time, it expands a lot more in the direction of something that all practitioners are looking for, and that is examples. So give me an example. Show me how you've done it in a rare case. How does that look like? I think we have we have a lot of books around us. That's a lot around theory, concepts, models, approaches. But we're lacking on practicality. How do we put that into a use and how does that work with the team? And is that something that I could do even if I'm now starting as a team coach? And I think that's exactly what the book does. More than that, just between the two of us. At the end of the book, we included also a cheat sheet. So like if there's nothing that you can come up with and you want to go just for the easiest, simplest structure of a team coaching workshop, go at the end of the book. There are, I think, 3 pages with the entire thing. Go apply it. That's it. Doesn't require to invent the wheel, but you have there everything. How I ended up with Solutions Academy? Well, I ended up because when I started looking at my coaching education, I've done something that I've learned as a consultant. You said earlier, this is a podcast for consultants and for coaches. I feel like I've been wearing that hat, both of those hats along my career. When I started looking for a coaching education, I put on my consultant hat and I said, what do? You do market research, right? Mm-hmm. So when I did my market research, I went on the ICF website, took all of the coach accredited programs, and went through all of them. I made a nice list. Went on their website, checked who's behind, checked what they're doing, if they have methodology and a theory behind. And that's how I came down to a very short list of Solutions Academy plus one more coaching. He said I had talks with both of those. And I said, Kirsten kind of like convinced me, also because she is down to earth and she's looking in the more pragmatic way. I'm going to do that. And that's how I landed in Solutions Academy as a course, first of all. And then I did as any other consultant would do. I looked at it and thought, cool course, beautiful business opportunity. How about we take these courses and put them in Romanian language? Because I know that there is a need on the market to expand. Mm-hmm. And expand on solid quality criteria. And I knew that that's definitely something that the Solutions Academy courses have. And that's how I've moved into getting even more engaged with the organization and building up those kind of resources that also the local market in Romania would need and they would enjoy. And we're seeing the growth. We're seeing also the growth in other markets. And I think that's related to this element of pragmatism and practicability of the theory behind it. To your other point of why this project, well, let's call it a project. I think for me, what attracted me highly was I love team coaching. If you ask me if I would give up individual coaching for team coaching, I would say, yes, of course, I don't mind. So of course, when the opportunity came of, let's do another round of second edition of this, I thought, yes, then I can bring all of the stuff that I've done with teams and put them in there and we can debate about it. It's not just like, I know how I did it and I was right, but I think it's just raising examples and allowing our others to come and talk about them and think about what else could have been done so that it brings even more quality to clients. In a short nutshell, more than excited that I said yes back then. And I'm still grateful that this opportunity came.
All right. Well, I'm sure Kirsten is very grateful that you said yes as well. And I would be remiss. So you are originally from Romania. You're in Germany today. Is that where you woke up today in Germany?
Okay. Sure.
And do you spend a lot of time back in Romania working with the local businesses and learning communities and rolling out team coaching and helping?
Yeah, true. True. The team coaching course that we roll out also in Romanian language is the only one on the market in Romanian language with double accreditation. So really high quality standards. And at the same time, having the chance to go talk to those communities, but also in the perspective of what, here I might need to open up a bracket and say, another way how I engage with the wider coaching communities. I'm the lead for the ICF Global Community of Practice for Team and Group Coaching. So that's also part of saying, how can we actually look at something that has been solid definition of competency standards, and let's look at it at bringing communities together. So that's why I also enjoy this part of bringing communities together.
Excellent. Kirsten, and where you're located in Germany right now? Or you're in Uruguay. You're in Uruguay.
No, right. I'm usually located in Germany. That's where my passport and my house lives. But I am currently escaping the winter digitally nomading in Uruguay.
Oh, wow. So you should be on my outdoor adventure podcast or my career podcast, because I've had a couple digital nomads. And that's what attracts me about this profession, is we can do our work anywhere. So perhaps we have another
I'm happy
podcast
to talk about my experiences in the podcast. Sure.
I love that. Rafal, my friend, we're on our Slack channel. There you were. And I'm a very opportunistic podcaster, as I will share with anybody. And you said, sure, Howard, I'd love to be on the podcast, but I'm going to bring 3 of my friends along with me. So share a little bit with our listeners about yourself, and how did you get involved with the Solutions Academy, and especially participating in the creation of the second edition of the book?
Sure. So actually, when Cristina and Kirsten were chatting, I just did a quick look on my phone to see when exactly I sent my email to Kirsten. And it was 5 years ago. So when my background is corporate L&D. So I spent nearly 20 years working as a head of L&D and L&D manager, designing trainings and development for different corporations. And then I decided to leave the corporate world, and I was looking for a coach education institution, let's call it like that, because I thought, well, I used to help people. This is what I want to do, but in different shape and form. And I came across Solutions Academy, and I shared the interest with Kirsten, and then I signed up for the first course. I fell in love. I fell in love with solution focus. I fell in love with the approach. I fell in love with Kirsten, although it will sound awkward, but I did. and then I said, well, I remember I had a conversation with my husband. I said, I would like to collaborate with them, but I'm shy. And he says, well, just go and ask, right? And I remember I had a chat with Kirsten. I said, well, listen, I would like to do something with you, right? And initially we had some idea of developing one particular market, but then it grew and evolved. So I completed more training with Solutions Academy, did my PCC with Solutions Academy. And then I just stayed, and I helped doing the corporate in-house courses, because that's also part of our business. We develop leaders across organizations globally as well. So not only open courses, but also courses for corporate clients. And I love doing it because I can use my learning design skills there. And now we are very excited because we are also opening Spanish speaking courses, and we are opening this another exciting part of our kind of offer. And then when Kirsten invited me to co-write the solution-focused team coaching book, well, first of all, I thought, I like writing, but I'm not sure if I can actually do it. But for me, the idea of actually building on the existing body of work and really thinking about, as Kirsten said, how this team coaching really evolved, given the changes of obviously move to digital, the accreditation across the world, but also huge appetite in the business as well for team coaching, how this can be reflected in how we teach team coaching and we deliver. And finally, most of all, from my perspective, given my in-house as an R&D professional experience, I didn't want to write another theoretical book that would be just a model A, B, C, D, because they are great, but a lot of, our clients and me, myself, just like with the model, it's great, but does it really work? So for me, the attraction was that it really, a lot of practicality, really something that you can use, basically, as Cristina said, you read the chapter and you can go ahead and do something. So it's not really you have to mull over the theoretical model and think, how am I going to apply it? No, the book really gives you some hints, some tips, cases, ideas. That was really our goal. And that's why I was really, really excited to write this book. And then when the book is out, the reaction from the industry and from the people was really, really super positive. And that's really such a fantastic feeling that people read it and then actually will benefit from reading it. So that's in a nutshell my story with the book and also with Solutions Academy with those two ladies.
Excellent. I appreciate you all sharing it. Now, if Carlo were here, I know he would add his spin to it, would add some more depth and color. And if he does arrive, we'll get it. But let's talk more and build upon what you have all shared. So I've been coaching since 2008. That's when I started my coaching journey. And the words team coaching is not lost on me, but how does the idea of solution-focused team coaching, one, differ from models around leadership or dysfunction? And I'm thinking The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni, whose work I do like. And by the way, we're not going to use the video of this podcast because Kirsten is making a face and we're not going to do that. But be good now, Kirsten. But how does that differ from the evidence-based approach in the books that have been out there? There's another theory, and I know you had a foreword by David Clutterbuck, and he's very active in the EMCC, and I cannot remember his last name, but I know his first name. I believe it's David, but systemic team coaching. So how does solution-focused team coaching differ from other, let's just say, not so much the theoretical models, but the evidence-based models? Because I like to read the book and I like to think I can put some of this coaching into practice today with a client if it's the right thing to do. So I'm very much, how can I use this? So I'm curious, Kirsten, how does this model differ from some of the other, say, evidence-based models?
You are stressing evidence-based as if solution-focused wasn't. So solution-focused is one of the most evidence-based ways of, it's been evidence-based theory and has 3 or 4 meta-studies that actually prove that it does work, as well as other approaches, and tends to be shorter. The main difference between solution-focused and other approaches, I might exclude Clutterbuck's work a little bit because we share some similar values with what David Clutterbuck is doing. But if you look at Peter Hawkins and Lencioni,
that's the name, by the way, was Peter Hawkins. I don't know where David came from, but yes. Yeah.
Their view is that you do need to analyze the team as if an outside perspective were possible. And in complex environments, outside perspectives are simply, they're not possible. If you look at, for example, Dave Snowden's work on complexity, it just becomes apparent that you cannot pretend to analyze all the relationships the team has. You cannot. It'll always be your perspective from your context, somewhat influencing the team's context and the team's quote unquote systems. I appreciate Lencioni, I appreciate Hawkins, but what I do not appreciate is pretending that as a team coach, we know more about the team than the team knows about themselves. And of course, I think Hawkins and Lencioni would also subscribe to that sentence, but by thinking that you can observe a team and give your opinion as a privileged viewpoint, you are, in fact, centering your worldview rather than the team's view of themselves. And that's the radical difference. Solution focus is very much about co-creating, about collaborating, about the team coach and the team being in the same boat without the team coach being part of the team. But the social constructionist philosophical background of solution focus makes this a different beast. And that now sounds all very highfalutin and very theoretical, but it does have practical implications because we do not need to come and bring 720 models. We're just working with the team. Mm-hmm. And whatever the goal of the team is, we figure that out and we move with the team, which gets rid of so many useless concepts and things that really get in the way, which is like concept of resistance. We don't work with resistance because resistance is always happening between coaching team. It's not in the team. Yeah, we don't work with a dysfunction. We look at what's working and how to get more of that. So I like it because solution focus is about co-creation and not about privileging the process expert or the expert's position as a consultant or coach. And for me, it's also an ethical position that I take. I don't think it is, for me, it's not ethical to treat other human beings as objects, even as objects of my observation. I think it is my ethical duty to always be in interaction with people and value their full humanity as equal and be compassionate with them. So I'll stop now because you can get me talking about this forever.
I think I've got you on a roll, which I appreciate that. So, excuse me. If we could, let's talk about the construction of the book, because we're here to celebrate the book, Solution Focused Team Coaching. How has it been constructed so that it's giving your potential customers, the reader, whether it's another coach like ourselves or in an organization, how are they going to begin to take this book and figure out, how can I use this to help not only myself and my organization, but also see some results? So let's start again with you, Kirsten. How do we get started to take this book and begin to use it, whether, again, if you're a coach or if we kind of focus on the potential client that you might work with?
Literally takes you from contracting to evaluation and all the steps in between. So basically, first team coaching you do, just do what the book says. Learn, reflect, do it better next time. Learn, reflect, do it better next time. And if you have any questions, we also offer weekly free meetings. So if you read the book and you have any question, you can just come to one of the meetings on SolutionsAcademy.com and ask your questions and we'll go and help you. So I think it's a very practical book. And I see that Carlo is arriving. Yay.
Carlo has arrived, and welcome, Carlo.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry for being so late.
Oh, no worries. They were talking about you. Very good things, by the way. I'm not, I mean, it was just, I can't even begin to describe what they were saying, but you're here and that's what counts now. Carl, I do want to chat with you for a minute, but I actually have one question yet again for Kirsten. So I bought the book, so I have a copy of it. I was reading it yesterday on the back porch and with my glass of iced tea, and I was enjoying it. And so now I know I can come to a complimentary call every week. Oh, wow, that's
Yes.
cool. So excellent. I'm going to take you up on that one.
This is like a free call for all coaches. Anyone who has any questions, the coaches, we offer one every week to just hang out and talk about stuff.
I love it. Thank you. Carlo, welcome again. First off, I'm glad you're here. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Milano. I live in Italy, so northern part of Italy. So
I am sorry to hear you're from Italy. I'm very sorry to hear that. I was interviewing Pauline Fromer. I don't know if you've ever read Fromer's travel guides. They're very popular here in the U.S. And I learned from chatting with her on my outdoor podcast that Italy remains the number one place in the world that people want to visit. And I lamented that I had not visited Italy yet because I wasn't married or in a relationship. And she goes, Howard, you got to take care of that. You need to go to Italy. So now I have a friend in Italy. So Carlo, this is great.
Exactly. When you want to come here, it will be a pleasure to have you with me.
Excellent. So Carlo, I want to welcome you. And I was going around the chatting with Kirsten and Cristina and Rafal about a little bit about their background. How did you get involved with the Solutions Academy, and how did Kirsten kind of twist your arm to help participate in the co-creation of this second edition?
Yeah, first of all, I have to confess that I fell in love with solution focus at the beginning, and then with Solutions Academy. But I think it's a normal, obvious consequences of things. So first of all, I started to study the solution focus approach, which is the basic of our book and the academy and the work that Kirsten and Cristina, Raf, and all of us we are doing in so many years ago. So I started to study by myself. My first book, it's fun because my first book of the solution focus approach has been the first book that Kirsten wrote on team coaching. The yellow one, I have it here. So it has been my first book, and my first experiment in a team coaching environment has been based exactly on that yellow book of Kirsten. So I was starting to study the solution focus approach since probably 3 months, and I have been a facilitator for years. So it was my first experiment with teams with the solution focused approach, and it was great. I have to say, it was simply great. And so years later, I've met Kirsten because I've started to think about being a certified coach. And so I started the coaching organization with Kirsten. So I've get my PCC with Kirsten and with Chris, and that has been the first step with Solutions Academy, Kirsten, and the other beautiful people that you have here. And so it has been my starting point with Solutions Academy. Probably based on my background as a facilitator and as a trainer in leadership communication and things like that. I have some kind of experience in working with teams and in a training environment, and also in a coaching environment. That has been probably the first. Kirsten gave me the possibility to participate on the creation of this book, or on the remake of the solution focused team coaching book. So in 3 words, this has been my history with Solutions Academy and with this book.
I love it. Well, it's testament to Kirsten and her power of persuasion, because I mean, she's the advocacy and the love that you all have been sharing. It doesn't go unnoticed. And Rafal, well, first off, Carlo, thank you for sharing your insights. And again, I'm glad you are here. Rafal, so I have a question for you. You and I know one of the others on this call are also part of this organization that Rafal and I coach in. And when we're on calls, we're chatting with clients inside organizations. Oftentimes, they're not just individual contributors, but they're part of teams. What goes through your mind when there is a team dynamic going on, yet we're there for our individual client? And so how does solution-focused team coaching play a role into that? Or is there definitely a separation between the needs of the individual versus, like, there's a team dynamic going on that perhaps should be explored, or ought to be explored, I should say?
I think that's a very interesting question. What I would just go back to what Kirsten said. So when I'm with individual client on the call and they talk about their team or situation, I always remember that this is a one-person story. So I'm quite curious to understand what they share with me. And as you said, I may have some idea, there may be some, not really assumptions, but curiosity that maybe there's some team dynamics that would be worth sitting with and maybe using solution focus in helping them. So as you said, I mean, sometimes when I hear those stories, I would be curious to meet the others and see if they would like to engage in a process that would be a team coaching process, or at least to use the solution focus approach to help them get where they want to be, probably as team and collective of individuals. So in a way, for me, in a nutshell, I can see, because we not exist just on our own, and we work, we partner, we collaborate, we contribute. So there's always another human, or sometimes many humans that work with us and with our clients. And that's, for me, an interesting space where solution focus, just as with individuals, can have potentially a powerful impact with working with teams or groups. But here we talk about teams, right? So yes, there is curiosity and there's appetite. And I would love to invite some people to explore using solution focus with their teams.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I have a question, and I'd like to get feedback from all of you. But again, I'll start with Kirsten. When somebody does a search, a Google search or Yahoo, Bing search, and they're looking for help inside their organization, and they come across the Solutions Academy. So this is an organization, they need help to develop and work with their teams, whatever the issue might be. How did they begin to contract or discover with you and your organization what is available, and how do you begin to establish that relationship so then Rafal, Cristina, or Carlo will then go out on a project and work with that particular client?
As Solutions Academy, our main thing that we do is coach training. So but of course, all of our trainers are also great coaches. So what usually happens, if somebody needs a team coaching, they can contact info@solutionsacademy.com and say, hey, I need a great solution-focused team coach. And not only do we have wonderful trainers, but we have boatload, more than one of graduates all over the world that know our approach and are happy to collaborate. And the good thing with solution focus is that our contracting always revolves around what would you want that's different. So, and we're making this additive. So we're asking team member A, team member B, team member C, we're asking everybody, what would you like? And then we create this picture where they all want to be. So it's much less conflict, much easier. It's, if you will, systemic, taking into account all the stakeholders, even outside of the team, and then basically develop a team coaching program. And we also have a listing of our coaches on our website that we're going to publish so that you could also contact the coaches directly. We're not in the business of taking money from the coaches. Okay. But we're also open if a company comes and says, we need 5 team coaches, and we'll say, okay, fine, you can have 1 invoice from us, and the coaches will take care of the invoicing. So as always, we really want to serve the needs that people have and not invent needs for them. So best thing is just write an email or book an info call. We have a site with info calls. Just say, okay, I like this person's nose, I'm going to talk to them.
Okay, very good. So I'm curious then, Cristina, and your exposure around the world, perhaps in your home country, what are the challenges that organizations with teams, what are they facing, and what types of issues are they looking to address, and how would you use solutions-focused team coaching to, support them?
You're falling exactly after a full conversation about that, because the topic from one of the conferences from last week was around navigating change. navigating change for organizations. And I think change in organization has obviously an impact also at the level of teams. And change doesn't necessarily mean only we're going to change the IT system. Okay. But it means also adapting and creating teams that are, you would use the term of agile, but I think teams that are flexible enough to take the organization from where it is a step forward. Right now, I think you see more and more also the technological challenges in terms of how do we include in the work that teams do, also the artificial intelligence, all of the generative systems, and more than that, how do we adapt very fast to the changing environments? So I would say one of the first challenges for organizations is always going to be around changes in the environment. Second of all, I would look at what's the challenge that is being brought by the change in generations. We don't have anymore the same type of employees. Hence, also teams are needing to look at how do we include different generations? How do we include different typologies in teams? I think that's also a moment when team coaching can support heavily, because you need to get teams together to look at what is going to be their preferred future, what is going to be their preferred way of working together. And as a solution-focused practitioner, I'm not going to go in there and say, I'm going to diagnose you first of all and say, half of you is like this, half of you is like that. That's why you cannot work together. But I'm going to ask you the other way around and say, how would this team look like if you would be working together the way, that would be that perfect image. And like that, you just construct, allowing them to put each of their resources together to gain that beautiful picture of the team. On the other side, obviously, you need to look into what are the other stakeholders, because there might be a more of impact, and then you need to go in and have at least a couple of interviews with those stakeholders to understand what are their views on the team. What would they notice if the team would be performing, and what does that mean, performing? Because I think everyone in the team is going to give you a different answer. So team coaching, it has been moving also in the last years. If you look at now, bringing a simple example of, if you take the ICF global study, where they look at the type of work that coaches are doing more and more today. In the past, I think 2 studies before, you would have seen a lot of individual coaching in the responses. Now there's also responses around team coaching. I think that an element in there is also because there's more clarity around what is team coaching compared to the other team development modalities. Mm-hmm. So putting it together, team coaching has become more and more a tool that organizations understand the use of it to gain an enhancement in the way that teams are working. And a solution-focused approach just brings it towards the desired objective of the team, not only of me as a team coach.
Thank you. Thank you. Carlo, I'm going to give you some more airtime. Cristina just shared her perspective and insights. And what are you seeing in a beautiful city of Milan? I mean, it's very business-oriented, fashions, a lot of culture, a lot of well-established culture. And so how is solution-focused team coaching being used to evolve to the change mindset in a culture that's very well established?
Yeah, thank you, Howard. I think that one of the main possibility that solution focus is able to give in this kind of environment, you were saying something like fashion. During the past week, we have had Fashion Week, so we have had so many people around this topic, and here in Milano. And one of the things that it's clear to observe is the diversity. How different are people that are working together in the same room about the same topic. And I think that solution focus is a great tool or a great approach to help people to work together, coming from different culture and perspective with different backgrounds. Exactly in the way that Cristina was sharing before. My personal point of view is that one of the most beautiful feature, let me tell you in this way, of the solution focused approach is to give them the possibility to create their perfect way of working together without putting anything from your side as a coach, of course, and letting them taking the responsibility to decide, okay, we can work in this way, we can collaborate in this way or in distance without seeing each other in a virtual community. And that's a beautiful way of helping them to create their preferred future. It's exactly the word that we normally use in the solution-focused approach, creating your preferred future. Isn't it beautiful to ask someone, what is your preferred future? It's great. And giving the opportunity to people to reflect in this direction, it's awesome because they take their decision and they decide by themselves without no one driving them or leading them, or they don't need an expert because they already are expert of what they want to have and what they want to reach. If we give them the possibility to reflect in this thinking environment of the solution focused approach. So probably this is one of the most important feature that the approach has for the generation that actually is going around this topic.
Excellent.
Fashion, for example.
Thank you. Rafal, I've got a question as we kind of build on Cristina and Carlo's perspective. Here in the U.S., we have a lot of uncertainty right now. There's a political uncertainty. There's also a very growing environmental uncertainty. I mean, as we have water all around us, we have the Pacific, the Atlantic. I saw a photo the other day, and 40 years, half of Florida is going to be underwater. Okay. We have a mindset amongst a lot of our populace that climate change is not real. Okay. How do we help younger generations learn to, I don't know, it's not accept, but also to use education, use tools like solution-focused team coaching to really understand things that we're all feeling, but really don't know how to perhaps articulate or work with others to have conversations about what's on our mind and what can we do to feel like we're making a difference. And I realize as I'm asking you this question, Rafal, I'm giving you a very loaded question here. And if it's outside of your wheelhouse, fair enough. But I'm just curious, the key word is uncertainty. Solution-focused team coaching, solution is an opposite of uncertainty.
Absolutely. As you said, it's a loaded question, and you mentioned a lot of different factors within it. I would say that, first of all, it's just my opinion. I'm curious to hear what others think. I would approach it with a coaching mindset. So you have people with varying opinions and different mindsets. So you start with the curiosity where they are and where they want to be. And that allows you, in my opinion, to start interaction with them. And then when they share where they are, where they would like to be, it's much easier for you to start introducing them to, for example, solution focus, right? In a way that is really encouraging and inviting when they shift their attention from a problem to really finding a solution, right? We even talked that the language for solution search is different than language of problem solving. Simple things like that. The tenet of solution focus, when we talk about small steps can lead to big changes, sounds like a perfect thing for climate change, right? For our lack of empowerment sometimes and feeling, I don't know what I can do with climate change, right? What kind of impact can I make? Simple things, but that would be my first answer. Be curious, engage with whoever you want to engage with, and start sharing what solution focus actually is and how it can practically change your life, because it has changed my life, both professionally and personally. And I've seen hundreds of people who interacted with me and with us, that when they started using solution focus approach in their lives, both professional and private, they have seen major impact and change. That's just my initial answer to your very loaded question.
Very loaded question. And I appreciate you hanging in there and indulging me with your response. And Kirsten, I have a question is, if a somebody is listening to this podcast, they are a manager, they're part of the team, and they want to learn more about this approach, what kind of benefit are they going to receive as a result of taking this book and reading it and looking for opportunities? What can I do differently with my team and to help them, be more successful, happy, hopeful?
Solution focus is, I think, the best approach to get rid of the most toxic behaviors in teams, which is blame and shame. Because it is an approach that encourages people to be responsible and accountable for the past, acknowledge what happens, accept where you are without making it rose-tinted and saying everything's hunky-dory when it isn't, but not go into analysis of who did what and when and whose problem was it and who is incompetent anyway. So start where you are and then find very appreciative, respectful, motivating ways of helping people show up every morning, happy to join the team, willing to do their best, being motivated by the appreciation they're getting. And I think one thing that I love about Solutions Academy as a company is that we've been able to bring that ethos into our team. Of course, stuff happens. Yeah. Trainers don't show up for a date that they agreed. Okay, shoot, happened. Yeah, we're still going to think you're a competent human being. So I think if you really want to have a motivated and a growing team and a team that is able to deal with anything that's thrown at it, a team that you mentioned uncertainty, a team that's able to navigate the uncertainties of today's world, and one that's able to kind of throw with the punches, that something is, I don't know if that's an American saying, but it's just gonna go with the flow and be successful while looking at who can contribute what, using people for according to their strengths rather than their weaknesses. And one manager that I was coaching asked me what does he think is the success of Solutions Academy, and I think part of it is really this fear-free environment that we've been able to co-construct. Okay, anybody can mess up anything. We are not going to tear their heads off. We're just going to repair it and move on. And I think that's also why a lot of agile people appreciate solution focus as a philosophy, because it makes retrospective really about learning and not about who done it. Long answer to short question.
Very good. See, that's fair, because I asked Rafal a very long question and he gave me a very succinct answer. So we're leaving now. In our time that is left, I want to be respectful for all of your time as well. I'd like to real quickly go around the room and just ask a couple quick questions, and we'll keep our responses as succinct as we can. I'll start with Cristina. If there's one idea, two ideas from the book that you would want to share with our listeners, what would one of two of those ideas be?
If I would pick one, maximum two ideas from the book. One idea that I would pick, because I think it relates not only to coaches, team coaches, but also anyone. I will encourage everyone that has a chance to pick up this book and take a look at something that it's at the beginning. It's called the Galveston Declaration. The reason why I picked this one is because the principles inside, they're not only relevant to team coaching, so they're not specific to something, but they are extremely useful values for any kind of conversation. If I'm having a conversation with my neighbor, or if I'm having a conversation with my manager or with a team, these values in here, I find them extremely relevant to sit at the foundation of that conversation. So if you want to have a chance, we can also just put the link if you want to just share directly the link. This, I find it extremely important. The other elements from the book that I see it again as a useful concept, if you want to go like that, without making it incredibly specific to team coaching, because there might be people that say, if I'm not a team coach, that means that I should not read the book. No, I think you should, because there's valuable information in here. Is the entire conversation that we bring here at the beginning, where we look also towards what is a team and how this relates to the way we work, the way we interact. And more than that, we look also towards ethics. And we look at not only about the team itself, but we look also at the well-being of the team coach. So I think this is the second element that I would look at. I think the book makes a case, very nice case of it's not only about the team, but it's also about us as practitioners. That's relevant also if you are as a practitioner in HR or anything. I think it's still relevant. Yes, you need to support the employees, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you take care of yourself. So this would be two things that I would pick up from the book. Galveston Declaration as values, and second of all, also about how we define what team is.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that. Carlo, you're up. What would you like our listeners to take away from the book? One or two, three quick points.
Okay, my first one is trust and safety. Trust and safety in general, when a manager is having a conversation with his team, is one of the most important pillars of having a good and effective conversation. Only if people feels engaged and they trust the fact that they can make a mistake, as Kirsten was saying before, we all are making mistakes, but we need to be sure that the other people can support us exactly in that moment without yelling at us in some way. So one of the most important understanding in this book is, okay, we can create trust and safety, and we don't need to be a genius to do that. There are some very practical and pragmatic approach and things that a person, a coach or a manager or a leader can do with his team in order to create a good environment in which things can be done and also difficulties can be overcome. I think it's one of the most important part, my personal point of view of this book. And it's also very pragmatic, like me, I have to say. Another one, if I can, is the art gallery metaphor. The art gallery metaphor, it's a beautiful tool that all of us, we can use. And we normally use when we talk each other, we have a meeting and we work together. And we can use the tool of the art gallery in order to have a conversation that is pragmatic, effective, very short, or the shortest is possible, if we can say it, and effective, because it's an interesting way of helping the other person or a team exactly in the same way to being focused on the important thing, not talking too much about the problem, but moving the attention toward the resources, things that are already in place that can be used, and the progress that we can do together. So those are my 2 points.
I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that and gifting Cristina and Carlo, gifting us with that. Rafal, what points would you like to offer for our listeners, ideas that resonated for you in the book?
A lot of them, but I would probably go for something very simple. So I love the mind map for interview results. So when you meet a lot of people, stakeholders, and you gather a lot of data, sometimes some of us may struggle to present it in a way that is more impactful when we present those results. And we talk about using mind map as a way of presenting those results in a way that is really impactful, clear, structured, and really gets the job done in a way that really the stakeholders understand. And you get the result of the outcome of the conversation of this presentation really that you want. So for me, apart from others that they shared, this is the one that I really, really like. Thank you.
Thank you. Kirsten, welcome back. I think you were here as we kicked off this final segment about the ideas that you would most want to share with our listeners, and ideas about of importance that are in the book. What would you like to share with our listening community?
I just want to second what everybody else was saying. I think it is one of the most pragmatic and usable books, as well as being one with a consistent philosophy and a theory of change, which you don't also find very often in the coaching. So if you're theoretically inclined, you're going to find it fascinating. If you're practically inclined, you're going to find tips, tools, and examples. So I like our book.
Of course.
I hope you do.
Of course. I love it. I am curious, as a coach who is always looking to develop, what advice would you give for someone like me who's been coaching for a number of years and really wants to delve into coach training, more coach training, but solutions-focused team coaching? What advice would you give for someone like me?
Read the book, come to the meetups, check if you like our style. If you do, explore taking a team coaching course with us. I think I would never go and say you must only buy our courses. There are many really great courses out there, and our colleagues, even if I don't agree on a theoretical level, they help other people become team coaches too. Just go and check the vibe of different coaching schools, see what you like, and then decide, hopefully for us, but not decide for the coaching school that mostly fits with how you work and how you want to be working.
Very good.
So that's the advice I would give.
Thank you so much. Now, before we head out today, if our listeners would like to learn more about you, Rafal, Cristina, Carlo, and the Solutions Academy, where's the best places for them to go?
Surely the website, I would say. Definitely SolutionsAcademy.com. Plus, always more than happy to have a coffee, a virtual coffee day. Everyone can book an info call with us. Any of us from here, you find our calendars and our direct links to our calendars on the website, so you can reach out and have a chat. And do join any of the meetups. There you meet not only us, but you meet also a lot of other practitioners. And I think one industry like coaching, where sometimes it feels lonely, coming together and finding other practitioners and sharing and exchanging might be the most beautiful way to grow.
I love that. I love that. And I think Cristina answered very well for everybody. Rafal, Carlo, Cristina, Kirsten, thank you so much for spending time with the listening community here on the Success Insight podcast, our coaching and consulting insight series. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you, your work, obviously to hear about and learn about and feel the passion you all have for solution-focused team coaching. Congratulations again about the latest addition to the book, and I look forward to, hopefully, I know myself, but hopefully our listeners will want to learn more about your work as well and join you on those meetups. I think that's fantastic, by the way. So thank you all for your time. It's been great.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you to you. Thank you.
All right. Fantastic.
So
listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a real quick close, and then we can have a final chat. Okay? All right, folks. We have just been chatting with Kirsten, Cristina, Carlo, and Rafal, authors of the second edition of Solution-Focused Team Coaching and the Academy, really the Solutions Academy, and just the body of work and really the evolution of this team coaching approach. And we learned a lot about the approach today from our four guests. And really, if it wasn't clear to you, it was definitely clear to me. They are passionate about solution-focused team coaching. And as I have been reading the book and getting prepared for this episode, I am very excited about it and look forward to continuing as a coach on that learning journey. But I can also see how organizations, managers, leaders inside organizations will benefit from this text as well. Now, do go out to their website, solutionsacademy.com. I'll provide the backlinks to it in our show notes. As for this episode, you can find us on our website, successinsightpodcast.com. We are also on LinkedIn and Facebook. YouTube, and of course, wherever you listen to your podcast. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.